Votto flexing their muscles in the opening game of this series. Jason Hayward and the Braves coming out on top in Game 1. We welcome you to sold-out Great American Ballpark in downtown Cincinnati, a weekend series between the Atlanta Braves and the Cincinnati Reds, and both teams with playoff aspirations. Atlanta gaining a game on Philadelphia in the East last night, a 3.5 game advantage, and the Reds slip a half game behind St. Louis in the Central. And hi again, everybody, alongside Kevin Millar. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Baseball on Fox. Joey Votto, Jason Hayward, two of the real bright young stars in the game today.
I'll tell you right now, Joey Votto last year went through a lot, losing his father. He is mentally where he needs to be. Tremendous player, probably your MVP candidate right now. And Jason Hayward, you can't swing a bat faster than he does through that zone. God has blessed him with tremendous bat speed and tremendous talent. These two guys are fun to watch. Both of them big parts of the ball game here last night, a game won by Atlanta. The final season under Bobby Cox, can they get back to the playoffs? In Cincinnati, Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto and company trying to lead this club to the postseason for the first time since '95. Game 2 next on Fox.
For the Atlanta Braves under Bobby Cox, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Omar Infante for the injured Martin Prado at second. Jason Hayward in right. Chipper Jones at third. Brian McCann behind the plate, the cleanup hitter, with Troy Glaus at first, Eric Kinski in left. A latter third of the former Red Alex Gonzalez at shortstop. Melky Cabrera in center. Jair Jurgens is on the mound. Our game today brought to you by Budweiser, official beer of the first inning, the beer that starts with full flavor and ends with a crisp, clean taste. Budweiser, it's what we do. Former teammate of yours, Kevin Millar, Bronson Arroyo on the mound for the Reds, looking for win number 11 and zeroing in his career on 100 victories as a major leaguer. First pitch up, ball 1 to Infante, and we're underway.
And here's old Bronson Arroyo's scout report. I tell you what, he is the guy that will throw breaking balls and hitters counts. tremendous command of his breaking ball in any count, and will throw it for a strike. In his arm angle, he will drop down with 2 strikes, changing the hitter's release point on his fastball and his breaking ball.
Crowded fair up the left field line by Omar Infante, and this will be an extra base hit to begin the ball game. Infante taking over for Martin Prado, who's scoring in the 10th inning last night. Broke the pinky on his right hand. They're expecting him to miss anywhere from 7 to 10 days. So that'll bring up Jason Hayward, and now the Sprint player first for this talented rookie right fielder of the Atlanta Braves. 8 game-winning RBIs, including one here last night, a 2-run double in the top of the 10th inning. The most among all major league rookies. Ball 1 away to Hayward. Hayward at 275, 11 home runs, 50 runs batted in. Atlanta winning a thriller here last night. Boy, it was just a great game to watch. 6-4, Atlanta wins it. Great plays, big clutch home runs, big hits on both sides.
It's exactly what you expect in a series. Obviously, 2 first-place teams, tremendous ball clubs, tremendous managers, and they're very similar in a lot of ways.
One on and fouled away by Hayward, the Braves' #1 pick, 14th overall in the June 2007 draft. Leads all major league rookies in walks, 2nd most RBIs, 3rd in home runs. They've been talking about this guy since he was hitting bombs in spring training.
And they talk about his maturity. You know, being such a young kid, he has a nice presence about him, handles himself well, and you know, guys like Chipper Jones, that's a big thing in that locker room.
There's a roller. That is a fair ball. Ryan Hannigan quickly out to get it. And his throw gets by Joey Votto and rolls down the first base line. They're going to wave around Infante. Throw goes into 3rd, and back to 2nd safely is Hayward. So the Atlanta Braves send 2 batters to the plate, and they've taken a 1-0 lead. A rare defensive miscue for this Cincinnati team. The best fielding percentage team in the National League.
Right here, you see this is going to be a tough play. Obviously, Hayward runs real well, and Hannigan comes up and tries to basically make a nice throw, and it gets away from Joey Votto. And once you throw it at the line, you know that's a double for sure, maybe almost triple. It's a good job by Hayward reading the throw, going to 3rd. But tough play there, especially with the speed of Hayward.
That'll be an infield hit for Hayward. The throwing error allows a run to score, and now it's Chipper Jones. First pitch swinging, pops it up. The skies have completely cleared here in Cincinnati, so it's a bright, sunny afternoon, and Orlando Cabrera there to make the catch. 1 away in the inning. Let's take a look defensively at Cincinnati, the #1 ranked defensive team in the league. Drew Stubbs, flanked by Johnny Gomes and Jay Bruce. 3/4 of their infield went to the All-Star game. Rolen, Phillips, and Votto, with a battery of Bronson Arroyo and Ryan Hannigan. Hannigan shares time with the veteran and your former teammate Ramon Hernandez.
Yeah, Ramon Hernandez, I tell you what, was the first year we had him in 06 with the Orioles. This guy can hit, but right now he's splitting a little time, and Ryan's done a great job behind play for the Reds also.
Now Brian McCann, who's been to the All-Star game 5 straight years. Clubbed a 2-run home run here last night in the 5th inning against Red starter Johnny Cueto after Cincinnati had jumped in front 3-1. McCann's 2-run home run tied the game. And he shoots this one into left field, a base hit. They're going to hold Hayward at 3rd. But Johnny Gomes fires back into Scott Rolen. That's 3 hits of the first 4 batters of the game.
Right here, you can see Brian McCann take this sinker right here on the outside part and just hits the ball right where it's pitched, right through that 5.5 hole. That used to be Tony Gwinn's hole right there.
He found that hole lots of times.
I'm telling you right now, but the maturity of Brian McCann has been unbelievable watching this kid hit. He handles himself like, I mean, he's one of the nicest guys you're going to meet. And he's just a veteran presence at such a young amount of service time.
Well, now here's a guy right now really struggling for the Braves, Troy Glaus. He had a horrid month of April. Many wondered what he had left. And then all of a sudden in the month of May, you couldn't get him out. In fact, he was a National League's Player of the Month in May. Had a so-so June. There's a tapper down to 3rd. And safe is the call there, and the Reds don't get an out.
Right there, I mean, Scott Rolen thinks Hayward's off just a little too far, and maybe not sure if that's fair or foul, but he tried to go for the out there. And you can see right here, Hayward kind of getting back, but Scotty at that point, you kind of in no man's land. That's a tough play. He's going to make, throw off balance. Not that Glaus runs that well, but still, he saw an out in front of him and went for it. But you're still a ground ball away if you're Bronson Arroyo from getting out of this inning.
So the Braves with a 1-0 lead. They have him loaded for Eric Kinsky, and he's among the hottest hitters in this Atlanta lineup right now. A .279 batter, 8 home runs, 39 driven in, and it's in there strike. Arroyo, 33 years old, a native of Brooksville, Florida. Perhaps not a guy that will win a Cy Young Award, but he certainly is a guy, and Kevin, he was a former teammate of yours in Boston. One of those pitchers, the more you watch it, in other words, if you see him every 4 or 5 days, you really, really like him. Even on subpar teams here in Cincinnati, he'll win anywhere from 13 to 15 games year in and year out. Has never missed a start in his major league career, and he will pile up the innings.
That's the key, what you just said. He makes every start every 5th day. But we don't talk about him because of he doesn't have the 95 to 98 in his back pocket. And when you got a guy like this that commands the strike zone, throws his breaking pitches anytime and any count, he's making your hitters off balance. To me, when we had him in 04, he was one of the most effective pitchers we had, but we only talked about Pedro and Kurt and Derek Lowe, but this guy gives you a chance to win every night.
Had a heartbreaking loss his last start, a complete game. He only allowed 2 hits. Both of them were home runs in a 3-2 loss on the road in Milwaukee on last Monday night. He's always been a better second-half pitcher than first half. Statistically, you can make the argument that really from about July 1st on in 2009, he was the best pitcher in the National League.
Like I said, anytime you command your pitches at this level, Greg Max did it for many years and didn't throw a 95, 97-mile-an-hour fastball. So it's executing your pitches, keeping the ball down, keeping the ball off the white part of the plate, and Bronson Arroyo does a great job of doing that.
A number of these Braves have big-time numbers against Bronson Arroyo. 3-2 pitch, and he walks in a run. And Atlanta in front 2-0, still with the bases loaded and still only 1 out.
We look at that pitch right there, 3-2 changeup, first inning. Okay, he didn't throw a strike. To an extent, though, it's not a bad scene because he's going for you're a double play away from getting out of this inning, only down by 2. Right there, if you give Hinsky a fastball down the middle and he hits a ball in the gap and drives in 3 or hits a home run, that's a bigger problem. But, talking with guys like Greg Maddux and Tom Glavenback, they didn't give in. Those situations, they did not give in. So, right there, you can see Bronson, he didn't execute the changeup, but he's okay. He's just still 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning.
First-year pitching coach Brian Price out to visit with Bronson Arroyo.
Right there, that's a changeup that just got away from him for a second. But, hey, if he executes that pitch down, maybe he gets a double play.
Well, now they're loaded for Alex Gonzalez, who played the last 3 seasons of his career right here in Cincinnati. He's been under the weather, has missed the last number of games with a slight case of the flu, but back in the lineup today out of necessity following the injury to Prado last night. Infante moves over to second, and Gonzalez back in there at short after coming over 2 weeks ago in the Yunel Escobar trade from Toronto. Grounded down to third. Rolen, Phillips, backs a double play to end the inning. A sluggish start for the home team. Atlanta jumps in front 2-0 with Cincinnati coming to bat. Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Brandon Phillips to lead things off at second. Orlando Cabrera, the shortstop, followed by Joey Votto at first. Scott Rolen, the cleanup hitter at third. Johnny Gomes in left. Jay Bruce in right. Bruce Stubbs in center. Ryan Hannigan catching. Bronson Arroyo. Jair Jurgens returns to the Atlanta Braves starting rotation, making just his 11th start of the year. Has been mighty good, Kevin, since coming back off the DL.
He really is. I mean, this is one of the bona fide. They're studs a couple years ago. And I'll tell you right now, he has a sneaky change, which not only will he throw to lefties, but will also throw to righties. It's a very effective pitch for him. And look out for the summer heat. Good heavy fastball with a downward plane, and that's what makes it tough for right-handed hitters to get that ball in the air. He's only given up 7 home runs this year, especially in this small park during a day game.
Well, Brandon Phillips, a National League All-Star for the first time this season. Look to the first pitch, strike one. Phillips, a .288 batter, 14 home runs, 39 runs batted in. A guy who hit primarily in the cleanup spot over the last 3-4 years here in Cincinnati, but this year they've moved him either to the 2-hole or more recently into the leadoff spot, and has really done an exceptional job, contrary to what a lot of people thought he might do.
No doubt. And it's so funny how the game changes. We used to look at the shortstops with 30 home runs, 30 home runs, 30 A-Rod and Jeter and Nomar. And now you look at the second basemen. Brandon Phillips is in your, you got Uglas and Canoes, and they're power over there at second base.
Phillips grew up just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Grew up a big Atlanta Braves fan. Jurgens 3-0, an ERA at 2.8 in 5 starts since being activated off the 15-day disabled list at the end of June. Was on there with a strained left hamstring. A breaking ball misses off the outside corner. This guy's tough to hit, man. Major league batters only batting .230 against Jurgens.
And he's always been tough against right-handers. I mean, he's got tremendous arm speed on all his pitches, which is what makes him tough. His fastball and his changeup and his breaking ball all look the same.
Now, where Jurgens has struggled when he has struggled has clearly been on the road. He's not won a game all year long outside of Turner Field. It's his 6th road start, and he has an earned run average of almost 8. And this is certainly, as Kevin alluded to a moment ago, not a pitcher-friendly yard. It is very much a hitter's paradise.
I'll tell you what, speaking to both managers, during day games especially, this ball will fly out to right field. Left field, it carries everywhere, but right field's really where the short porch is at this stadium, speaking to both managers. Bobby Cox even said, maybe I could have hit a home run to right field, which is amazing because I don't think I get a ball further than 200 feet out there.
Slow roller to the shortstop, Gonzales. And he throws out his former middle infield mate with the Reds. Phillips one away. Let's take a look at Atlanta defensively. They'll go with Hemsky, Cabrera, and Hayward. They just recently sent down Nate McLeod to the minor leagues. Chipper Jones, Alex Gonzalez, Omar Infante, and Troy Glaus along the infield, and Brian McCann hanging the sides. Orlando Cabrera, his first season with Cincinnati. Began last year with Oakland, finished in Minnesota, helped lead that club to the playoffs, where he drove in 77 runs, and he has been a very fine addition to this extremely young Cincinnati team.
I mean, he's probably the one player everybody always asks me about. Why does he get traded so much? Tremendous teammate, a Gold Glove caliber shortstop.
In the short left field, and this ball is going to fall in front of Hemsky, and Cabrera with a blue double.
You got to hit him where they ain't, and that's the name of the game. Right here, you can see Orlando right now. Oh, he blooped it right there. Hemsky trying to make a great play. That's a tough play coming in on that ball right there. And that was all the speed Eric had, and tried to make a nice play. Didn't quite get it. And Orlando ends up with a nice double, getting something started for the Big Red Machine.
And now the sprint player first for Joey Votto, the Cincinnati Reds. This young Canadian born and raised Red Slugger, what an unbelievable year he is having. Leads the National League in batting average, leads the National League in home runs. He's first in on base percentage, first in slugging percentage. It's hard to imagine, Kevin, if the vote were today, and clearly it's not, 2 full months left in the year. It's hard to believe you could even make an argument for somebody else winning the MVP award than Joey Votto.
You really can't. I mean, I want you to watch his head, though. It does not move. And there's only been 2 hitters that I can really think of right now that Manny Ramirez would be a guy. But you can see this guy is first in the National League in HRs, average and on-base percentage, and slugging percentage, but basically has carried this ball club and put them on the map. I mean, offensively, he is, to me, the most feared hitter in the National League. And that's, I know it's a big step because everybody out there is going, what about Albert Pujols? Not taking anything away from Albert. But this left-handed hitter right here is scary.
Scary good indeed. You see his numbers with runners in scoring position. He has Cabrera at second. He looks at a breaking ball in the outside corner. The last player in the National League, by the way, to lead the league in batting average, slugging percentage, and on base percentage, Barry Bonds in 2004.
How was he?
He wasn't too bad. And that one is lofted into right field. A base hit. They're going to wave around Cabrera. Here comes the throw to the plate by Hayward. The slide, and he is out at the plate. A perfect throw by Hayward.
Right here, Joey Votto. It looks like a little changeup right there. He stays on it, gets it just over Infante, and look at Jason Hayward come up and throw a rocket ship. One hop right to McCann, right on the money. Those are the things you can't teach. Those are the things you can't teach. Not only the arm strength, but a one-hop throw that goes right into the glove of Brian McCann. You can have a strong arm, but if you're going to short hop him and it goes off his shin guard, now what? That's a great throw right there by Jason. Look at that.
McCann in a perfect position, keeping Cabrera off the plate. The throw right on the money, and it stays 2-0. And now your old buddy Scott Rolen, who's had a renaissance year once again, healthy again, playing back in the Midwest where he grew up. And what a season it has been for Scott Rolen.
Tremendous pickup. Just his presence alone, I think, helps this ball club.
It was on this day a year ago, the Reds really surprised everybody by acquiring Rolen, a player clearly getting up there in years, in his mid-30s, was having a solid year in Toronto, in fact, having a very good year. But everybody wondered, why would the Reds, a small market team, bring in a big money player with a history of injuries in recent years? Well, Walt Jocketty knew all about Scott Rolen. He's a guy who traded for him to bring him to St. Louis from Philadelphia. And all Rolen has done since joining the Reds, when he is a lineup, their record is 72-45. That's pretty good.
You know, statistically, we sit back and look at stats all we want, and he's had a great first half and all that. The presence of Scott Rolen makes Phillips better, makes Jay Bruce better, makes Johnny Gomes better, and it's hard to say, but that's the truth. He's a professional. Okay, he plays the game the right way. He slides in the second base every time a ground ball's hit. He's never going to peel off. If you got to slide 45 feet, he's going to be down. So he does the little things that this game needs. And Scott Rolen or those guys are these teammates that you need to have in your ball club. They're called winning players.
Throwing a 3-1 breaking ball, and Rolen comes up empty to run it full.
There's that great changeup we were talking about with great arm speed. You know, you're looking dead fastball. He just threw a 94-mile-an-hour heater to start you off. And you can see right here, 3-1 pitch. Guy on second base. Look at the arm speed on that changeup. Scott way out in front. Yeah, I love to joke around with Scott Rolen because he's 6'4", 250, and he chokes up.
Back to the mound. Jurgens avoids a scoring inning for the Reds. A couple of hits, a man left. Perfect throw by Hayward to cut down Orlando Cabrera. 2-0 game. Presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. By Fusion, the 2010 Motor Trend Car of the Year. Get in and drive one. And by Sprint, the Now Network. Great American Ballpark, the home of baseball's oldest professional franchise, the Cincinnati Reds. I don't know if you had a chance, Kevin, when you're in town, that building right there, the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum, considered by many, outside of the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, to be the next best of its kind in the country.
No, I haven't had a chance to go over there, and being a baseball junkie, I got to get over there.
You got to get over there. It's really an amazing place. We begin the second inning. First pitch swinging is Melky Cabrera. And Johnny Gomes will come in to get it. One pitch, one out. And take a look now, Mr. Millard, our forward keys to the game.
Well, right here, if you're the Braves, you're waiting for the soft serve. Have to be patient. Take what Bronson gives you. Sit back and wait because the soft serve's coming. And the 2-out RBIs. The 2-out ribbies, we like to call them. The biggest backbreaker for an opponent. All hitters eat steaks. And there's nothing better than a 2-out ribby. I'm going to tell you that. And if you're the Reds, Votto Lotto, he's the man. He's one of the most feared hitters in the National League, like we said. And like they're stifling D. You don't hear enough about their defense, and they lead the National League, and they're second in the majors behind the Minnesota Twins. So those are my keys, or the Ford keys,
or both. You're a Ford pickup kind of guy.
100%. Love it.
Beaumont, Texas guy, right?
That's right. That's right. There's a lot of Ford pickups.
Yeah, I believe that. Swing and a miss. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Mr. Jurgens, and the first two retired. We had a chance, Kevin, to catch up before the game with Bobby Cox. 69 years old, from Selma, California. Has been certainly an institution, not just in Atlanta, but all over baseball. He's already gone on record as saying that he will retire as Braves manager at the end of this year. It's hard to believe. We were down there kind of riveted saying, you know, you are allowed to change your mind, and you can kind of see that look in his eye, can you?
That was a great question by you, and you saw it, and he goes, not yet.
It's in the air to right center. We'll come back to Bobby Cox in a minute. A very quick 1, 2, 3 seconds, so the Reds right back at it, trailing Atlanta 2-0. By Budweiser. With full flavor and a crisp, clean finish, it's what we do. We'll look across the Ohio River into the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Well, just a gorgeous weather weekend. Normally you come into places in the Midwest in the summertime, heck, just about anywhere in the Midwest. You go to Go down south to Atlanta, you figure it's going to be 95 with 90% humidity. There's virtually no humidity this entire weekend, and temperatures in the mid to low 80s.
And we got a nice little breeze coming through here. Usually we're up here sweating to death and wiping ourselves off. It feels great.
Johnny Gomes first pitch swinging to begin the Cincinnati second inning. And Infante will go out there and make the catch. One pitch, one out for Jurgens. There you get a look at the temperature, 81 degrees, very low humidity, and that breeze that Kevin referred to has been going anywhere from 18 to 15 miles per hour. And now one of your neighbors, Jay Bruce from Beaumont, Texas.
Lives right across the street from me, Mr. Jay Bruce. Big kid, by the way. I mean, you get next to Jay, 6'4", can run, can throw. You see the full package that he has. But yeah, he's a Beaumont native. I grew up in Los Angeles, went to school in Beaumont. He signed out at Westbrook High School there in Beaumont, but really good kid, good family.
Bruce at 260, 10 home runs and 40 runs batted in. Lets a fly ball down the left field line, and Henske in fair territory will run it down. Well, we understand the Atlanta Braves have made a trade just prior to the deadline, and here you have it. Longtime Cardinal Rick Ankiel goes from Kansas City along with pitcher Kyle Farnsworth, a hard-throwing right-handed reliever. And the Kansas City Royals acquire reliever Jesse Chavez, who got the victory for Atlanta last night, Gregor Blanco, and pitcher Tim Collins. So that adds more to what has already been an outstanding bullpen, one of the best in Major League Baseball under Bobby Cox.
I mean, Farnsworth, obviously arm strength, tremendous, and he's actually got a great slider that he's been throwing a lot. He's going to be a nice addition. And I like the Rick Ankiel, the deal for center, another center fielder, another outfielder, athletic guy. So that's a great pickup. I think the Braves did great acquiring those two guys right now, because those are you can't have enough pitching in the bullpen, and with Rick Ankiel, it's going to be another talent out there in the outfield.
1-1 to Drew Stubbs, playing in his first full year in the major leagues. Another native Texan, played collegiately at the University of Texas. And like a lot of young players, has had his ups and his downs at time this year. Power numbers very good. 13 home runs, 49 runs batted in. I mean, they're right there with a guy like Jason Hayward.
He reminds me of a young Rocco Baldelli, when Baldelli came up with the Rays. But he can absolute fly.
And that's been his problem. He is striking out well over a third of his at-bats so far on the year. 2-0 Atlanta. We're back to Cincinnati after a word from your local Fox station. Presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Alongside Kevin Millar and our entire Fox Sports crew, Tom Brenneman from Cincinnati. Atlanta scoring twice off starter Bronson Arroyo in the opening inning. And that's where we stand as we begin the third with Jason Hayward. Strike one. Hayward an infield hit on a little roller up the third baseline and scored in the opening inning. Broken bat that goes flying into the stands. Rolen throws in time. Nice play on the other end by Votto, and thankfully it appears everybody is okay. That bat went about 10 rows behind the Reds dugout into the stands. I'd like to remind you, with baseball's trade deadline happening right now, keep up with all the latest news and analysis by logging on to twitter.com/Ken_Rosenthal, ROSENTHAL, or twitter.com/MLB on Fox. Arroyo starting to find a groove. Chipper Jones popped up to the shortstop Orlando Cabrera on the first pitch in the first inning. And behind here 0-2.
There's that good changeup right there from Bronson. Both pitchers today will throw that changeup any count to any hitter. And you can see right here the arm speed again on the changeup. Boom, Chipper out front.
Well, what a fabulous career it has been for Larry Wayne Jones Jr., selected by the Braves in the first round, first pick overall in 1990, and where he ranks all time in Atlanta Braves franchise history. A 6-time All-Star, a 1999 National League Most Valuable Player, and the only switch hitter in Major League history to have a batting average of over 300 and to club 300 or more home runs.
It's still amazing to me, switch hitters, how they hit from the left and they hit from the right like it's totally normal, and they get homers from both sides, because I don't know if you've ever stepped in a cage, if you're a right-handed hitter and tried to take a swing on the left side and you're not a switch hitter, it is tough. I mean, to watch these guys do it.
Well, after getting ahead 0-2, Arroyo lost Jones in that at bat, a 1-out-1.
That's a veteran take right there. He made him look foolish on one changeup, and then you saw Chipper Jones make the adjustment. And this is what Chipper's always done his whole career. Right there, there's the same changeup he swung at, and he made the adjustment by taking it for ball 4.
That'll bring up Brian McCann, who singled into left field his first time up.
You know, I was talking with Brian before the game, and he said something that was pretty neat. He said he would not be the hitter he is today without Chipper Jones. He has taught him so much about hitting just from that last at bat you saw, making the adjustments, sitting on breaking balls, 2-0 and 3-1, when as a young hitter, most of the time you're going to sit fastball. But this is what it's about. A young kid who's going to be Brian's team when Chipper leaves, and your veteran that's just the knowledge of all the pitchers in the league teaching your Brian McCann. But it was pretty neat because now you've seen a Brian McCann that's really stepped up, and I mean, one of the best offensive catchers, if not, you know, middle lineup guys in the big leagues.
1-1 to McCann, and that one's pulled off the glove of Votto. It dribbles into right field. Jones going to make the turn. He'll go to third. And a throw back into Votto, and McCann dives back safely. So that'll be a base hit for McCann, sending Jones on to third, and the Braves are knocking on the door to add to this 2-0 lead.
Right here, obviously, Votto holding Chipper on, and that ball was ripped. And as a first baseman, that is a tough play because you shuffle, and you got a rocket ship coming right down there. But great try by Votto just off the end of his glove, and once again, McCann using that hole.
So they'll hold McCann on over at first. Here's Troy Glaus. He hit that bouncer down to Rolen, who made the attempt to tag out the runner at third, Jason Hayward. And the Reds did not get an out on the play. Breaking ball in there, strike. Started to talk about Glaus after being the National League's Player of the Month in May when the Braves really took off. Glaus was decent in June. The Braves were decent in June. And the month of July has been much like the month of April for Glaus. He has just had a miserable time. He's not knocked in. He's not hit a home run in the entire month. And is hitting in the very low 100s for this month.
That's why they called an average. I mean, one month you're hitting 385. Next month you're hitting 207. But Troy Glaus goes by a theory, and I laugh at him every time he says it. All he's looking for is 35 to 40 good swings a year. He's going to get up 550 times, and he's going to hit 35 or 40 long balls.
Breaking ball by Arroyo catches the outside corner, and Glaus behind 1-2.
You know, power hitters they're streaky. You have to gamble to hit with power. That's just the name of the game. If you told Troy Glaus to feed the ball over Brandon Phillips' head over second base, it's different. You're not going to go through the struggles like guys like Derek Jeter. But this guy, he's a power hitter, and he's going to go through some struggles. But you know what? He's going to get hot at the right time, too, and carry your club for a month.
Plus, of course, the 2002 World Series most valuable player then with the Angels. Defeated Dusty Baker's San Francisco Giants in 7 games at World Series. Two-two to Glaus. And he came up empty for strike 3.
Right here, Bronson Arroyo obviously fooling Glaus. He was kind of sitting on that breaking ball, and there's 88 by you. But he put it in a nice spot underneath his hands. But you can see with the steady diet of breaking balls in that at bat that Glaus was taking, and then boom, that's pitching right there. Mixing his pitches up and hitting the spots. It's a big strikeout for Bronson.
So now they're on the corners with 2 outs. Votto taking a peek in the dugout to see what they want to do defensively. You have a left-handed batter in Hinske up there. And Votto will continue to hold McCann on at first base. Hinske drew a bases-loaded walk his first time up. Straightaway center field, plenty of room for Stubbs, and Arroyo wiggles off the hook. After 2.5, Atlanta 2, Cincinnati 0. Jair Jurgens set to begin the bottom of the 3rd inning. His team scored twice before he ever threw a pitch off Bronson Arroyo. So he gets a look at 8, 9, and 1 in the batting order. Ryan Hanigan, Bronson Arroyo, and then Brandon Phillips. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Braves. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error for Cincinnati. Ryan Hanigan at 309. A couple of home runs and 22 runs batted in. Hanigan, yet another product of this Cincinnati farm system. Got a chance to catch a lot of baseball last year when Ramon Hernandez underwent knee surgery. And after spending time on the disabled list this year, Hanigan has come back and played very well.
What a big asset for a manager to have 2 bona fide catchers. Usually you lose a catcher and you got a guy in there you got to throw in there, and he's usually your defensive guy, but not a whole lot of offense. Obviously Ryan hitting 309 and giving you tough at bats every day. That's big for Dusty.
Well, to give you an idea, and it doesn't have to be one guy every day. I mean, that's a perfect world scenario. But Brian McCann has 53 RBIs. The duo of Hanigan and Ramon Hernandez have 51.
That's your point. I mean, that's a perfect point. In your lineup, you're never going to get everybody hot at the same time. But if you can have dogfight at bats up and down the lineup and scrap away, you're going to have 2 guys hot. Like right now, Troy Glaus isn't hot for the Braves, but you need somebody hot, that's going to pick him up. And your point's made. There's a 50 RBI combination between Ramon and Ryan.
One ball and 2 strikes. And Jurgens throws the hands in the air and comes to the plate and misses low and away to even the count. Well, the Braves have to be very excited that they get Jurgens back healthy roughly a month ago. And he'll be a fresh pitcher over these final 2 months of the year as the calendar turns to the 1st of August tomorrow. Well, you're talking about a guy who is a dominant force near the top of this Atlanta rotation after Tim Hudson. And to have him fresh and strong for a drive to the end is good news for Braves fans.
Isn't it amazing? We talk about the Atlanta Braves year in and year out, and they pitch, they pitch, they pitch. I mean, obviously the Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavine era, and then Avery came through, and then you had Millwood at the bottom end. But now you look at their starting pitchers: Tim Hudson, Derek Lowe, Tommy Hanson, Jair Jurgens now healthy, like you said, and going to be fresh. Chris Medlin has done a nice job for them, but these guys have pitched ever since I've been here. We've had to face them with the Florida Marlins year in and year out in the same division.
3-2 again to Hanigan, and he takes strike 3 called on the inside corner. I'm not sure he agreed with Angel Campos, a home plate umpire. Dusty Baker, in his 3rd year as skipper of the Cincinnati Reds, has his team a half game out of first, and we asked him, did he think his team was this good when the season began?
Well, not really. I mean, we played well, most of the year. And, we knew we had a pretty good team. We just didn't know how good a team we had. But, in my mind, we still, could have played better. But the main thing is, we played great defense. And for the most part, we've had timely hitting. And lately, we've had very good pitching.
You've said, Dusty, that you've really enjoyed this team this year. And you've had a lot of very good teams in your managerial career. Why?
Well, something in spring training, these guys got together very quickly as a unit, and they like each other. They have fun. They pull for each other. There's no envy, no jealousy on this team, and we have a great mixture of youth and veterans at the same time. And, that's a kind of team I've always yearned for. You've got veterans that have knowledge and wisdom of the game, and you have young players that, tend to keep you laughing and on your toes by some of the silly stuff that they do. And, it's a great combination of guys.
Dusty, thanks for the time. Good luck.
All right. Thank you very much.
Tough loss last night for Dusty Baker and the Reds. A 6-4 decision in 10 innings. Atlanta beat Cincinnati's closer. Francisco Cordero walked 2 batters in the 10th inning before Jason Hayward lined a double into left field. And in Cincinnati posed a threat in the bottom of the 10th, stranding 2. But Billy Wagner once again able to nail it down.
And there's another guy that's back, Billy Wagner. I mean, obviously going through his elbow surgery, but now this guy's throwing a bazillion last night. You can tell by the swings they were taking.
St. Louis in extra innings. Got a 1-0 win last night over the Pirates. For about the next 20 games, the Cardinals certainly have the schedule in their favor. And then really for about the last 5.5 weeks of the season, it flips back the other way, at least if you go based on winning percentage of the opponents. The Reds have not been to the West Coast this year. The Cardinals do not play another game west of Houston the remainder of this season. They've already played San Diego, Colorado, the Dodgers and the Giants, along with Arizona. The Reds have not played any of those teams on the road. 3 straight strikeouts now for Jurgens, and time now for a DirecTV game break. The Red Sox and the Tigers getting together. Top of the first inning with a man on and 2 outs. What else for Miguel Cabrera? A 2-run home run, number 26. And that gives Cabrera a major league leading 91 runs batted in. The only way to watch every major league game is in high def. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. Well, Miguel Cabrera, I remember like it was yesterday, Kevin. I know you do too. When he first came to the big leagues, he's never stopped hitting. And it's a 1-2-3 third for Jurgens. Atlanta in front 2-0. Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball, specially formulated for men. Rolling hills of Cincinnati, Ohio, looking into the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And we're at Great American Ballpark. Sellout crowd, very, very quiet. Atlanta scored twice in the first inning. The Reds have just 2 hits. So the Braves come to bat in the 4th with a 2-0 lead after winning in extra innings here last night. 7, 8, 9 in the batting order against Bronson Arroyo, and Alex Gonzalez looks at a breaking ball, strike 1.
Really like this pickup for Atlanta. I mean, I think Alex should have 10 Gold Gloves by now. I mean, one of the most special hands, does everything right at that position. But for some reason, the Gold Glove these days, it's all about production also.
You're right.
And I'm telling you right now, came up with Alex with the Marlins, him and Luis Castillo. You've never seen a double play tandem in your life. Tony Taylor, who was our infield coach, was out there every single day at 1 o'clock in Florida, summertime, and had these guys working. And Alex went through a little bit of trouble, with attitude, and he's a little immature, and they brought in Ozzie Guillen, was our third base coach, and he has really had a nice career, and he's still a special player at that position.
Well, having his best offensive season was Gonzalez over in the American League with Toronto prior to the trade. The 17 home runs, the 50 runs batted in 85 games with the Jays. And clearly, Frank Wren, the Atlanta general manager, along with Bobby Cox, they feel like they're getting a much more solid, reliable guy. If you go based on talent, Yunel Escobar is probably blessed with more of it than Alex Gonzalez. But this guy is a solid, veteran, dependable guy.
No, I mean, it's 17 home runs right now in the East. I was joking with him yesterday. I said, my God, that's a tough division.
He's out of there on strikes. I'd like to remind you, teams around the league are competing for a $200,000 Pepsi Refreshment grant. Vote for your team's idea at PepsiRefresh.mlb.com. Third strikeout of the game for Arroyo. He's walked 2, allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. And it's strike 1 to Melky Cabrera.
Another thing with Alex Gonzalez, he has won games in the postseason. This team's trying to build to get to the postseason.
2 hopper down to Rolen. 2 away. Take a peek ahead to next week on Fox Saturday Baseball. Kevin Youkilis and the Boston Red Sox will roll into the Bronx to take on the Yankees in a showdown between two of sports' most bitter rivals. Some will see the AL West leading Rangers take on the A's. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Sprint returns next week, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. Breaking ball, strike 1 to Jurgens, who struck out his first time up.
It's Kevin Youkilis' hometown right here, huh?
Yes, it is. Went to Sycamore High School, a little bit north of downtown Cincinnati. Played collegiately at the University of Cincinnati. And, of course, a lot of folks around here are still just dumbfounded how a guy drops that many rounds in a draft and the hometown team missed it.
Happens every year in the draft.
Big story done a couple of years ago in the USA Today. Here you have a city in the Midwest where obviously the weather is only so good in the spring, and based on per capita, Cincinnati's produced the second most players to play Major League Baseball among all cities in America. It's hard to believe. Still 2-0 Atlanta. the second inning, trailing the Atlanta Braves by a score of 2-0, and kind enough to join us from down at the Atlanta dugout, back healthy again and pitching, well, like he's pitched during his entire Major League career when healthy, Tim Hudson. Tim, how you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Man, I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
August 8th, 2008, you have the Tommy John surgery. You come back last year, you make 7 starts for the big league club. Did you feel like going into this year that you were all the way back physically?
You know, after working out this offseason and starting my throwing program this offseason, I felt like I was back 100%. Last year during the rehab process and pitching at the end of the year, I didn't feel like I was 100%, which, is pretty normal a year out. But, just like everybody said, a year and a half out, you feel like you're back 100%. And that's pretty much how I fell into going into spring training this year, man. I felt really good about things.
All right, Timmy, now everybody wants to talk about your pitching, but I want you to tell the boys and girls out there how you rank and who are you behind at the University of Auburn.
Well, I don't rank anymore, that's for sure. I was your poster child for aluminum bat cleanup hitters, 150-pound cleanup hitters in college. I don't know. It's fun swinging that aluminum. It's a lot different when you put that wood in your hands. You know that.
You have all the records, you and Frank Thomas, right?
Well, we share some. I think there's some hitters that's come along since us and has pushed us down in order. But it's amazing what that aluminum can do. You get those -5 aluminums in your hand. It's amazing.
No. You can hit, and that's the bottom line. So all you pitchers out there better start pitching them tough.
Come on now.
0-1 to Joey Votto. Jim, talk about this guy, Joey Votto. There are a lot of people around baseball that are just getting to know more about him and what a kind of hitter he is and player he is. You haven't had a chance to face him much, but he'll catch your eye, doesn't he?
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, man, he hit a ball at our place at the beginning of the year, a grand slam opposite field. It was just an absolute missile. And, we knew that we've always known he has a lot of talent. He's a big, strong guy. But obviously this year, man, he has really put something together. His approaches are much better. He's hitting for average. He's hitting for power. As a pitcher watching him in his at-bats, it looks like he's always balanced. He's always it looks like he's about to hit every pitch you throw. And, as a pitcher, man, that's, you don't like seeing that. You like seeing guys out front. You like seeing guys looking bad on pitches every now and then. And he don't seem to look too bad too often.
That's what we were talking about earlier. His head never moves at the plate.
He's very quiet in the box, and just has unbelievable power.
3-2 now to Joey Votto. 1 out here in the Cincinnati 4th inning. Atlanta scored twice in the opening frame against Bronson Arroyo. And Cincinnati has really not posed a threat since they had Orlando Cabrera thrown out at the plate by Jason Hayward on a Votto single in the very first inning. In fact, they haven't had a base runner since the Votto hit. 3-2 on the way. Pull to the right side. Real nice pitch. And they're 2 away in the inning. Tim, your ball club, we asked Bobby, and I'm curious from a player's perspective, you knew what you had coming back. Are you surprised you have a 3.5 game lead as we're zeroing in on August tomorrow?
No, I'm not surprised. We felt good about our club coming into the season. We had a little bit of a skid there to start the year, but we managed to get through it. And, we knew that our club was going to be built around pitching and good defense, and hopefully the pieces that we put on our club offensively were going to come through. And it's all seemed to have come together for us. We got to stay healthy. We really have to stay healthy from an offensive part of our lineup, and our starting rotation, I think, is one of the best in baseball. Our bullpen is really, really strong. So we felt like if we can pitch and catch a ball like we're supposed to, we're going to win a lot of games. And we had a nice lead coming in this road trip. The Phillies got kind of hot, and we hit a little bit of a skid on the road trip a little bit, and they managed to close the gap. But we feel like we're going to get things rolling again, and
well, Rolen is rolling right now. It's a 2-1 game. And in vintage Scott Rolen fashion, there's no standing and watching. It's sprinting around the bases.
Right there, you got hitter's count. You got 2-0 fastball. And that was right down the middle. Scotty went down and got it. I'll tell you right there, that's a ball player. You can see him just bring his hands inside that baseball and find the barrel of the bat. What a nice shot that is right there. You can see the ball almost dent for Scotty's 18th homer.
Jim, I know you obviously don't root for the other guys when you're playing them, but I would imagine Rolen is the kind of guy who is very much a player's sort of player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. You know, the way he plays the game. For instance, you know how he just ran the bases right there if he hit the home run. You know, it's something that as a pitcher you appreciate somebody doing that. If you give up a bomb to him, and you know he's a solid player. He's always been from what I hear, you know, favorite in the clubhouse, and you know, all around good guy. So it's one of those guys you like to see succeed unless they're playing against you.
You know, the one bad thing about him though, Tim, he's got bad hair. Okay, he's got terrible hair, and I always tell him keep his hat on.
Yeah.
Tim doesn't want to hear about it.
I was going to say, man, I can't comment too much on hair.
No,
hairdos.
but so you let it go. He still thinks he's got some hair right there, and he's got that top part. But
sometimes you got to accept it, man. Just let it go.
Let it go. He's got the third worst hair on this team. He said Bronson Arroyo's got to be number one. He was on Cairo a little bit.
Yeah, but see, but Rolen was on you. He asked you at the All-Star game, right? He said, what's a 40-year-old guy doing with highlights in his hair, right? Yeah. Did he ask you that?
He asked me, why do you have highlights? You're 40, and why do you have makeup on, Kevin? I said, great point, Scott. Back to you, Harold.
That was awesome. That was great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff. Tim, thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. The best of luck to you. We're glad you're healthy again. One of the game's real good guys, and continued success to you and the Braves.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Good luck, Timmy.
Thank you.
Tim Hudson, he will not pitch in this weekend series against the Reds. Cincinnati will miss both Hudson and Derek Lowe. They saw Chris Medlin last night, Jurgens today, and Tommy Hanson tomorrow will walk up with another guy like Tim on his way back from a Tommy John surgery, and 2008 National League All-Star Edinson Volquez. 1-2 on Johnny Gomes.
I'll tell you right there, Jared just got away with a big mistake. Johnny Gomes almost hit that to the boat, dead center. And here's a guy, when he goes to the plate, he's trying to hit a homer. And you appreciate that about him. Scott Rolen and I were talking about that. Some guys, if you struggle, all of a sudden you start losing your confidence. Johnny Gomes doesn't lose his confidence. You might get him out 5 straight times and strike him out. He's still a 6th time going up there and trying to hit the ball to the scoreboard. Big power right here.
Looks at a breaking ball low.
And that right there, that's a 1-2 changeup by Jair Jurgens. And you can see the take. That's a nice take by Johnny. You know, they're making nice adjustments right now, and he's throwing a good game. And
swing and a miss, and that'll end the inning. 4 strikeout for Jurgens, but the Reds get on the board. A long one for Rolen, number 18, to cut the lead in half. Cincinnati within one as the Braves have a top of the order coming up in the fifth against Arroyo. Omar Infante 1 for 2, doubled and scored, leading off the game. Now the Braves are saying publicly that they believe Martin Prado, their outstanding second baseman and a National League All-Star this year, who broke his pinky in his right hand last night, will miss anywhere from 7 to 10 days. So the plan is right now he will not go on the disabled list. But Bobby Cox said to you and me before the game that he wouldn't be surprised if Prado walks in his office 2 or 3 days from now and says, I'm ready to go.
Said he's a tough kid. But once again, depth on baseball teams. Here's an all-star right here. You know, Omar makes the all-star team because now he fills in a nice void. And just in case Prado's not able to play in the next week or so. And you're filling in a guy, an all-star.
So leadoff single by Infante, and here comes Jason Hayward. Hayward an infield hit and scored in the first inning. He bounced out to Scott Rolen in the third. Infante, not a big base stealing threat. 3 out of 6 on the year. Well, what a rookie class it is in really all over baseball this year, but especially so inside the National League.
Unbelievable. Posey just gets done having a 20-game hitting streak. This young man that's ceilings as high as the sky. I mean, there is some young talent out there. And they're all barely 20. 20. I mean, you got Starling Castro over there, the shortstop for the Cubs, and Jason Hayward. I mean, think about what I'm saying. These kids aren't even 21 years old yet, playing at this level, this high of a level, hitting big league pitching.
Here you see just some of the names. Gabby Sanchez having an outstanding year for the Marlins. Posey wasn't an everyday player until about, a third of the way through the year. Ike Davis called up at the end of April, has driven in 52 runs for the Mets. And Tyler Colvin was really the 4th outfielder for the Cubs when the year began, and now has worked his way into regular playing time. You know all about Hayward, 50 runs batted in. You know all about Steven Strasburg now on the DL. We talked about Sanchez quietly having an outstanding year. Jaime Garcia, 9-game winner for the Cardinals. Ike Davis, a regular first baseman in New York. Mike Leake went straight to the major leagues from Arizona State, and then Posey out west.
And this Tyler Colvin, I mean, in spring training with the Cubs, he hit about 580. I mean, every ball he hit was a rocket ship. I thought it was a joke. I'm like, has the game gotten that hard for me personally and that easy for the young? I mean, he can hit, and his role has been diminished early on, but now finally he's his way in the lineup.
They were able to stay alive. Those 3 top rookie pitchers that we briefly highlighted there a moment ago, Mike Leake of these Reds, Jaime Garcia in St. Louis, and Steven Strasburg, they go about it in dramatically different ways. Two and two on Hayward. And it's hooked foul. Now, Mike Leake, the Reds have to keep an eye on him as far as innings are concerned this year, much like the Nationals have done with Steven Strasburg. The Reds have a plan. They're skipping over Leake. Today was supposed to be his day to start, but they'll bypass him as he continues to climb closer and closer to really where they want to stop him, right around 180 pitches. Leake, of course, wants to be in there. He made the jump straight from the draft to the major leagues. One hopper. Phillips turns it, and Hayward legs it out. Phillips had to come a long way to get to the bag to take the throw.
Right there, Scott Rolen, nice position, makes a nice feed, but you see just a slight bobble. It's almost like Brandon had to come a long way and couldn't find the bag for a second, and that's what gave Jason the safe call at first base. But you can see right here, he kind of stumbled right there, that little stutter step. And just that slight of a movement with a guy that can run, he's safe.
Phillips, a Gold Glove winner 2 years ago. And really unbelievably, Orlando Hudson's an outstanding defender. But for those who see Phillips play every day, it's impossible to believe that anybody could be a better defensive second baseman than Brandon Phillips. When you talk about a town blessed with outstanding defensive second basemen through the years. Now you talk about guys like Brett Boone, Pokey Reese, Brandon Phillips. I'm not sure there have been three better defensive second basemen in the last 20 years in the game.
The second guy, Pokey Reese, I had a chance to play with in 03. The best I've ever seen.
Yep.
I mean, wow.
Back to the mound. And Arroyo to start an inning-ending double play. Pretty slick right there. So the Reds will come to bat in the bottom of the fifth. Atlanta still in front, 2-1. Presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. A sellout crowd at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, where the Atlanta Braves hold a 2-1 lead over the Reds. Jay Bruce, Drew Stubbs, Ryan Hannigan coming up against Jair Jurgens, who's allowed just 3 base hits, 1 run. The 1 run, a solo home run by Scott Rolen. Bruce beat with a fastball, pops it up down to third base line. And Gonzales in foul ground for the first out.
We're going to take a look at the last out of the last inning and how important it is for a pitcher to fill his position. Right here, Bronson kind of stumbles, but look at him drop down sidearm. He's used to throwing down there and throws a strike right to Orlando Cabrera, and obviously Orlando does the rest for a big double play right there. And Bronson being athletic, he handles the bat pretty good, and he's able to fill his position pretty good. And right there, you can see it helps him out.
One out for Drew Stubbs. Stubbs lays down a bunt, and it's going to roll foul. You know, you brought it up earlier, Kevin, and you've been around a lot of guys, played with a lot of guys. Here in Cincinnati, there are those that have watched the Reds for 40 or 50 years that'll tell you the only player faster in the history of the franchise, or at least for many, many years, than Drew Stubbs was Deion Sanders. And there are those that will tell you, who've been following baseball for a long time, that maybe outside of Bo Jackson, there's been no right-handed hitter faster than Drew Stubbs. This guy can fly.
Hit a ground ball in spring training, a ground ball to shortstop, and beat it out. And literally beat it out. And I just look back and go, wow. Talking with Hatcher at first base, Baldelli came up with Tampa Bay, and it was a special type DiMaggio thing. You didn't see a right-handed hitter with a 3-9 to first. Drew Stubbs, he said, is faster than Baldelli.
And Hatcher was there with Tampa Bay.
And Hatcher was there with Tampa Bay. I mean, you can't see the things with speed. It causes havoc on a baseball field. You're going to go through struggles. The bad thing, he's striking out a third of the time. He'll figure that out. But if he makes contact, you're rushing defensively, you're stealing bases, you're first to third. You know, you just can't teach that. They always say speed doesn't slump. It slumps because it's hard to steal first. But this kid starts making contact a little more frequent. He can run. He's a talent, man. And you just can't give up on guys like this.
1-2 the count on Drew Stubbs. And he takes it down low. Stubbs looked at strike 3, his first at bat. In the air to right center field, hit pretty well, but not well enough for Stubbs' liking. Short of the track. Hayward able to get there. Let's take a look at our Verizon game summary. Atlanta right from the get-go took advantage of an error, a couple of misplays defensively to score their only 2 runs of the game. Rolen getting Cincinnati on the board, and both starting pitchers have really pitched quite well.
It's what we expected. They're both around the strike zone and commanding, all their pitches. Jurgen's doing a great job throwing his changeup, mixing in his, fastball, and Bronson doing the same thing.
2 away for the catcher, Ryan Hannigan. He's jammed with a fastball and pops it up and right through the order. In order is Jurgens. We played 5. Atlanta leads 2-1. Introducing the Droid X, the next generation of those. And by Chevrolet, every model is backed by a 100,000-mile, 5-year powertrain limited warranty. Bobby Cox and the Braves beginning play today with a 3.5 game lead over Philadelphia. The Phillies were back 7 games less than a week and a half ago, made up ground during what has been a rough road trip for Atlanta. The Braves went 2.5 months without losing a single series against a National League opponent. The only series they lost against anybody was a 3-game sweep against the Chicago White Sox during interleague play. But now on this road trip, which wraps up tomorrow, they've lost each of the first 2 series on it in Florida and Washington.
That's what makes baseball great. The pennant races. You look up and a team's 8 or 9 ahead, and all of a sudden 1 month later, you're looking at a game and a half. Things happen, injuries happen, teams go cold, and you know Philadelphia wasn't going anywhere. It seemed like they never got hot, but you knew they're just too good not to be up there fighting.
And in fairness, of course, to the Phillies, they've been, without some very key members of their team. You know about Chase Utley. Polanco has been out of the lineup for an extended period of time. They didn't have Carlos Ruiz for quite a while, as it's 3-1 on Brian McCann to begin the 6th inning. But as they start to get healthier and healthier, they make the deal to get Oswalt, although he got knocked around by Washington in a loss last night. And there's ball 4 to Brian McCann. 3rd walk given up by Arroyo today. Now some of the last minute wheeling and dealing. Oswalt, of course, traded for J.A. Happ and a couple of others, going from Houston to Philadelphia. Miguel Tejada. Now, how much does he have left, Kevin?
I was going to say, out of all that whole package right there, everybody's going to say they love the Roy trade. I love the Miguel Tejada trade the best. You could put him now behind Gonzales. He's a bona fide. His nickname's La Guagua. In Spanish, the bus driver. He's an RBI machine. I played Miguel for 3 years in Baltimore. Tremendous human being. Tremendous teammate energy. So I like that move for San Diego because they've pitched all year. It's no joke. The joke's over. San Diego's the first place team because their bullpen, they're starting pitching. But offensively, did they have enough?
Popped up to Brandon Phillips, and he's going to let this ball bounce and throw to first. No, they don't get the out there. But the runner at second base is out. Or the one who was supposed to advance to second base, that would be Brian McCann.
I mean, this is one of those plays that's scary as an infielder because you're looking at the hitter and seeing that if that ball bounces, can I throw him out before he gets to first? Brandon did a great job. McCann right now saying thank you. I get to go put on my catcher's gear. I appreciate that. And Glaus is mad. So right there, it's a great job either way. The speed doesn't really matter because I'm not sure who's going to win a race. But Brian's pretty happy, and I guarantee he's going to send a signed baseball over to Brandon.
Kinski, the left fielder, who's walked. His walk came with the bases loaded. Right now, that's a difference in the game. And then fly to center field, stranding 2 in the 3rd.
This would have been the first guy I would have went out and got this offseason. Seems like he's been in the World Series every team he goes to. Tampa Bay, the Yankees.
And he's done very well for Atlanta this year when given the chance to play, especially here of late. He's appeared, as you said, in each of the last 3 World Series. And on the winning side in 07 with the Red Sox, and of course last year with the Yankees.
Yeah, he's played in on every team except the Orioles, and he's came up with Toronto. Rookie of the Year.
Of course, Baltimore making big news this week, finally getting the deal done and hiring Buck Showalter as their new manager.
And you hear it. You hear Buck, hey, we're going to compete in the East. That's a great city. It's a great stadium. Man, do they have their work cut out for them. And Buck and the organization, because it just seems like they are just behind the 8 ball in that division.
It's 1 and fouled out of play. 2-2 on Hemsky. I mean, you have a team like one of your old clubs, the Red Sox. 13 games over 500, but 7.5 behind the Yankees. Tampa Bay sandwiched in between the 2, and all of a sudden, thanks to a 7-game winning streak, Tampa Bay within 1 game of the division lead.
That team's not going anywhere if they stay healthy arms wide. David Price, I think they've done a great job with him. Here's the the guy that was a first pick, and you didn't even really hear about it because he got to hide behind a Scott Kashmir, a Jamie Shields, and they just kind of brought him up. Now he stepped up to be the guy. Now you got Garza and Price and Shields and Davis, and Jeff Neiman's done a great job. So if they stay healthy, they have a chance to win every night. So they're not going to go anywhere. And then you got obviously the Yankees who just keep adding and adding and adding. And like you said, the Red Sox, they haven't played that bad. A lot of injuries, but you know, they're 7.5 out. Who are they going to catch?
Two and two on Henske. Runner at first, 1 out. We're in the top of the 6th inning. Breaking ball is in the air. Short left center. Gomes coming hard. You better peel off if you're Orlando Cabrera. And there are 2 away in the inning. Pick a stat, pick a player. Build your baseball hot streak. Correctly pick 10 straight and win a Fox Sports baseball cap for the month of July. 27 is the most wins, held by Mongoon 56. Tomorrow starts a new month and a new prize. The person with the most wins every month gets $500 cash. Get your streak started today at foxsports.com/fantasy. You know Mongoon 56?
No. That was a long, scary word.
Now, if you had to come up, though, with a name where, you know, even your buddies wouldn't be able to figure out. Okay, I mean, you know, we a cowboy and that kind of, you know, we can't go down that road so people can figure it out, right? What might it be?
Mine would be 6'3". 6'3", E3. Because I hit about 90% of my balls to the shortstop. And probably wasn't as smooth as ice over there at first base. My teammates have figured it out.
Right.
Society wouldn't figure it out. They go 6'3", E3. Oh, it's Millar.
That's good stuff. So we'll keep an eye out for that. 6'3", E3.
Yeah, when we're announcing it, 6'3", E3, that's Millar.
0-2 on Alex Gonzalez. Gonzalez had a very difficult 3 years here in Cincinnati. His first year after signing as a free agent. A newborn baby, a little boy, had some very, very, very serious health issues. And it was remarkable the first half of the season that Gonzalez had. Then when he came back, he tore up his knee. And finally was able to finish out on a pretty decent note last year before moving on to Toronto. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Arroyo and the Reds still trail by a run. The Reds come to bat in the bottom half of the 6th inning, trailing Atlanta 2-1. The series began last night, the first time since 1995, where the Reds have hosted a series at the end of July in first place against another team in first place. And ironically, it was September of '95, these same two teams that eventually wound up colliding in the National League's championship series. The closest the Reds have been to reaching the playoffs was in 1999, when they played a one-game playoff against the New York Mets, and they were shut out by Al Leiter. Jurgens throws out Arroyo, trying to bunt his way on for the first out in the inning. Of course, the Braves mainstays, 14 consecutive seasons of playoff baseball, but they haven't been there in the last 3 years. For the Reds, this 15-year drought, they got spoiled around here, Kevin Millar, for a long time.
The Big Red Machine is who you remember. You remember coming to Cincinnati and seeing all those teams. And, I mean, all the great players that have been here, Tony Perez. It'd take too long to start naming them. But I'll tell you what, this team, you're looking at both teams, their managers, the managers' jobs to get the most out of your players. And I think they both do a great job of doing that. You could put everybody in the lineup. You're not playing, you're not hitting. But the manager's job for a player, get the most out of you. And Bobby Cox, we were talking to earlier, and Dusty Baker right there. These guys are the best at what they do for a reason. They have great relationships with their players. And Bobby Cox, I mean, all these years, I've never heard a bad thing about him. And that is just a true testament of what he's done, because he starts with being a great human being and get the most out of his players and giving them confidence. Never gives up on them. Rides the struggles out. So those things are important to the players. And then, you know, you've been on certain teams when players shut it down. Shouldn't, but they do. And I think Dusty and Bobby both have a great group, and you're going to see these two teams, I think, down the stretch.
Slow roller to the right side, and Fonte comes in to get it and throws out Brandon Phillips. And the first two easily sat down by Jurgens, working on a mighty fine game here today. And now it's time for the Just for Men Keep Your Edge spotlight. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But our State Farm Go to Bat, you can log on to statefarm.com/go-to-bat. Thanks to our friends at State Farm. Let State Farm help you go to bat for the charity of your choice. And they'll help you and figure out how people can go to bat for you and things you care about. Ball one on Orlando Cabrera with 2 down and nobody on. And it's in the air to left field. Did Cabrera get enough? And no is the answer. Kinski up against the base of the wall to make the catch in a perfect 6th for Jurgens. Still a 2-1 game. sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Well, a lot going on in downtown Cincinnati this weekend. You have the Reds and the Braves, 3 sellouts Friday night, Saturday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon. Next door, the annual Jazz Music Festival over at the Bengal Stadium at Paul Brown Stadium. Crowds expected anywhere from 55 to 70,000 people each night for that. And then, Kevin, one of our favorites when we were growing up as kids, even though I'm younger than you, the rock band Kiss in town.
Gene Simmons. Everybody, you tell me you didn't measure your tongue when you're in the mirror? Saw Gene Simmons' tongue when you brush your teeth? I'm like, wow, is that real?
You ever seen them in concert?
Never saw them in
Lights
concert.
out.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. Unreal. Great show. 1-1 to count on Melky Cabrera. And that ball's in the air, pretty well hit into right field. Bruce streaking back, and he will run it down. That's one thing you can say for Jay Bruce, even though his season has been a struggle at times offensively. If they gave a gold glove just to a right fielder, Bruce would be the runaway winner.
Right here, you got Melky Cabrera just out front of Tad on that changeup or two-seamer, and Jay Bruce knowing the same. Up here, every ball looks like it's a home run. But one thing, like you said, Jay Bruce, he can throw and he can field.
Well, Jurgens is drilled, and boy, he's getting ready to fire the bat. It's quite the reaction there from the Atlanta pitcher. There's no way Bronson Arroyo's trying to hit him. And he got him on the left arm, it looked like. Obviously, that is not his pitching arm.
I mean, right here, there is no way he's trying to hit him, obviously. That hurts. It's on the elbow. That's the difference with the National League and the American League. The pitchers are in the batter's box. Brian McCann looking on right there, hoping he's okay. You'll be able to hear this a little bit, but this is right off the left elbow bone.
On the game last night, Chris Medlin, the starting pitcher of the Atlanta Braves, was drilled on the right forearm. And yes, the right forearm as a right-handed batter got hit by hard-throwing right-hander Johnny Cueto. So it's back-to-back games where an Atlanta starting pitcher has been hit.
And like I said, that's the difference with the American League and National League. And the pitcher's got to go up there and hit. That's part of this league, and you never want to see a pitcher get hit anywhere near the elbow, but they also know how bad that hurts when they start drilling the hitters. That does not feel good right there.
First pitch breaking ball is in there to Infante, who has 2 hits today in 3 at-bats and has scored a run.
You're not going to hit Omar Infante on that arm. He's got a wrist guard right there. He's got an elbow guard right there. He's got a wristband in between. And he's got a padding batting glove on his hand. His whole left arm right there, he's protected. You can see that elbow guard right there and the wristband in between, and he's ready for the fight.
He's ready to suit up for the Falcons.
That's 4 pads on one arm. Never seen that. And don't forget about the left shin guard either, down to his toe. He's wearing 5 pads. This is amazing. I'm pretty intrigued right now, Tommy. I've never seen a player have 5 pads. Barry Bonds was one of the first guys to go wrist to shoulder, basically, with an arm guard, but this is 5 different pads.
Votto will play for the out at second. That's all they're going to get. 2 gone in the inning. Major League Baseball would like to remind you that it's proud to support Stand Up to Cancer. Visit standup2cancer.org to learn how you can help us in the fight against cancer.
I was just watching Glenn Hubbard take all these pads. He's got 3, and he's going back for the 4th pad right there. He's got 4 pads right now he just took from Mr. Infante.
Hey, look at him down there.
That was one hitter.
He looks like he's bringing in the groceries.
he's a 5-pad player. You know how they have 5 tools, which I always joke around and say I never had a toolbox. He's a 5-pad player.
And there's Mother Hubbard. Two down for Hayward. Leonard takes off, and it's grounded to Brandon Phillips. He'll throw out Hayward, and that'll end the inning. Reds have the heart of the order coming up, starting with Joey Votto down a run. Dash and Beard, keep your edge by Amway Global, where positivity powers our people, products, and business. And by State Farm. With 17,000 agents, we've got the best lineup in the game. Well, now it's time for our Just for Men Keep Your Edge Spotlight. Just as Shire Jurgens gives Atlanta the edge, you too can keep the edge with Just for Men Mustache and Beard. Jurgens has allowed 1 run on 3 hits. He's had very good control today. In fact, he's not walked a batter. He's fanned 4. But now all of a sudden the Reds will send the heart of the lineup up to the plate here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Jurgens has retired 16 of the last 17, allowing just the home run to Scott Rolen back in that 4th inning.
What a great ball game. I mean, what a great ball game. You're looking at both teams right here just battling. This typical Bronson Arroyo game, like you were saying. They just seems like he's always going in 7th or 8th with 2 or 3 runs. But right now, this is where every pitch counts. And now you got the middle of the line coming up for the Reds. You have to execute here throughout this game.
1-1 to Votto. This is a Cincinnati offense which leads the National League in hitting, runs, hits, grand slams, RBI, slugging percentage. I mean, there are hitters up and down this lineup having big-time seasons, but they've been extremely quiet today. Change-up swung on and missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I mean, look at Votto, #1 in every one of these categories. And from the 7th inning on, he's been the best hitter in the league. You can throw that in as a number first. And another first for Votto. But now behind 1 and 2. Fastball, strike 3, and he knew it. Change up the 92-mile-per-hour fastball.
That right here is what you call paint. 93 miles an hour. Probably got some of the old Atlanta Braves strike zones right there. Maddox would be pretty happy looking at that. But that is paint. Like you said, change up 1-1 right there on the outside corner at 93, 94.
Now Scott Rolen, who accounted for the lone Cincinnati run back in that fourth inning. In fact, he's been their only base runner since the Votto single in the first inning.
And you can see right here, he got a fastball right down the middle, down in the strike zone. And you can throw Scotty up, but don't throw him down because he'll hurt you.
Line into left center field. Cabrera over to try and cut it off. Rolen, an extremely aggressive base runner, will go to second. For a guy who doesn't run all that well, I don't know if I've ever seen a better base runner than Rolen. Am I off base there?
You're exactly right. But right here, you can see him take this fastball once again down the middle of the plate, puts it in the gap where it's supposed to go. And the one thing about Rolen, like you just said, tremendous instincts on the bases. Nobody runs the bases better than him. Always going first and third. But you can see right there that swing. Boy, is that sweet right there.
The late great coach of the Philadelphia Phillies, who was so instrumental in Rolen's career, John Vukovich, said Rolen was the best base runner he has ever seen.
Ball's in the dirt, he's gone. First to third, he's gone. Tagging from second like last night we saw him get to third base. Those are little things that win baseball games. It's not that hard to be a student of the game when you're a player. And Scott Rolen is a student of base running. You don't have to have speed. People think you got to be really fast to be a good base runner. No, there's no reason why when you take your lead at first, check him for the catcher sign. If it's a 1-2 pitch and you see him there calling a breaking ball, you're ready for the ball in the dirt. Little things that help win baseball games.
So now the tying run at second. A quick visit to the mound by McCann. A 1-0 count with one out to Johnny Gomes, who for most of this year has led the National League hitting with runners in scoring position. There have been a lot of good players on this Cincinnati team this year, but in situations like this, Gomes has been their most lethal hitter.
And that tells a lot right there about Johnny. I mean, he really bears down in these situations, and that's a big positive. You're going to free swing and nobody on base trying to go deep. But you can see just on his takes, those first two pitches, he's looking for a pitch in his zone.
Gomes has slipped down to fourth now in the National League, batting with runners in scoring position. Adrian Gonzalez hitting .400 for San Diego. Do you green light him here 3-0?
I think you have to. I mean, you got a tying run on second base. You got one out right here in the seventh. Middle line guy, and one swing of the bat, he can put one up there by the flags.
That doesn't mean he had to take sign, maybe just not in the spot that he wanted it.
You know, the other side is, are they pitching around him, maybe to set up the double play, like we were talking about in the first inning of Bronson. I mean, sometimes you don't want to give into a guy because you're one ground ball away from getting out of any on the next guy.
3-1 on Johnny Gomes. And it's a base hit into right field. Now Rolen had to wait to see if it would get through, so they hold him at third. And Johnny Gomes has put the tying run at third, and he represents a go-ahead run at first. Rolen had to make sure that line drive was not caught. It's got to be a tough angle as a base runner, Kevin, at second.
No doubt. You can see right here, he has to freeze, but Johnny Gomes takes the fastball 3-1 right to right field. Didn't try to do too much with it. And you can see right here, Jair almost got no man's land right here. He's not far enough behind Brian McCann right here. If that ball gets past him, Scott Rolen scores. So he got very lucky on scooping that ball because nobody was backing up right there.
We were talking about the arm of Hayward.
Yeah, you see Jason come up and throw right here, and the pitcher's supposed to be on, behind the catcher. But, he just got fortunate, but you can see Jair is supposed to be right around here to go right behind Brian McCann, and now he got lucky that wasn't the case. Almost cost him a run, though.
Well, Cincinnati native and Atlanta pitching coach Roger McDowell comes out to visit with Jurgens, who's in first-time trouble in a long time. It's the first time the Reds have had 2 base runners on in an inning at the same time.
Big spot for Jay Bruce. Maybe look for a pitch to get up in the zone, hit a sac fly, but you want to keep the ball off the ground right here as a hitter.
Jay Bruce came up in a huge situation last night after a game-tying home run by Votto to start the 8th inning. Rolen doubled, went to third on a fly ball to right, and Bruce struck out against the left-handed Johnny Venters. And Atlanta got out of the inning. He had a pitch to hit right there and fouled it straight back.
These are situations as big league hitters and an experience he'll understand. But right here, this is a fastball straight back that was just above the belt buckle. And, you know, nice pitch right there by Jar. But the pressure's on the pitcher right here, Tommy. And I think sometimes as hitters we go up there and the game gets real fast in these situations. Right here, Jay, the more experience, the game will slow down.
And he bounces one through the hole into right field. Gomes will slam on the brakes as Hayward got to it quickly, and it's a 2-2 game.
Once again, right here, the replay, you got first and third, so the Glaus has got to hold on the runner, and Jay Bruce did a nice job right here of finding that hole and pulling the baseball right through that hole. See that ball tailing away? He just got it through that hole and ties this ball game up. We got a ball game now, Tommy.
Both of these teams are extremely thin in their bullpen going into this game today. We played 10 innings here last night. Virtually everyone was used on both sides. Bobby Cox told us he wasn't sure about Saito and his availability. Dusty Baker was very concerned about his closer's availability today, Francisco Cordero.
Yeah, he said he'd tell him he's okay, but after throwing 30-some-odd pitches last night, you know, I don't know how comforting, especially walking 7-8 hitter. You know, it was just a lot of you know, pitches for your closer to go out there and throw, and they ask him to come back in a day game.
Go ahead run at second. Bruce at first. Drew Stubbs behind a strike. And takes one right down the can, strike 2.
Nice changeup, though. You know, John Smoltz always used to mention stress pitches, and your closer is throwing 30 to 35 pitches. Those are stress pitches. A starting pitcher, it's not that big of a deal. You know, you kind of cruise and take a little off. But for a closer to go out there and hit the 30 to 40 pitch mark in one inning, those are stress pitches.
0-2. Jurgens ahead of Drew Stubbs.